This is a type of cold bush. It's named Kankute. Very good to get rid of excessive mucus. New mercies each returning day over around us while we pray, and help us this and every day to live more dearly as we pray. By that I woke up. By that I got up, frustrated. But even though it was like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it still instilled in my mind what my parents had taught us. The discipline. As I said to you, I was kind of feisty. I was feisty. So they used to call me Peggy. Her first name began with Peg. They made a song of me. I have 2 fat bony legs. And nobody about me care. And they say I come like a big tiger egg. That's the song my brother made. I remember the song now, but not doing too much singing. So they didn't really like me because I was miserable. I was outspoken. I did not pretend. If I didn't like something, I did not say I don't like it. But over the years, they get to like me more. They, see a more gentle side of me. But I'm not really a person who give people trouble, But like if provoked, that's when I really I flare. And then I don't keep malice, I calm down back. Right? And if I'm guilty, I try to make it right with the person that I had offended. But if I'm not guilty, though they said if whatever, you must go to them. If I'm not guilty, I'm not going to tell you sorry because I can't tell you sorry for what I did not do. However, so growing up in Jamaica was good. I remember the days when these roads in Jamaica, a lot of these roads in the country, they were just narrow lanes, like we call them track. Just some little fine track, And they used to chop out around it. And then all of us, it was people walking through those tracks. Until later, now these parochial roads get widened and vehicles of all sizes driving all over them. More noise pollution now more than when I was growing up. With the sound system and all those things, more noise pollution, But when I was growing up, it was more quiet environment. The only crime we used to hear about was like black art. We used to hear about black art, so we were told that like some people would come in some black car or so, and they would offer us dolly baby or sweetie. And then if we see them now, and when they call us for it and we go for it now, they would just grab us and take us in the car. So when we were going to school, there weren't much cars then. I'm not ashamed to say, I'm 56. So from 1962, right? In those times, when we saw cars on the road, which was not a lot of times, all the school children that walking on the road would dash in the bushes. And I am not gonna say I'm over brave, that I'm gonna stand there and I don't know what to expect. So I dash in the bushes with them as well, because I don't want to be caught by a black cat, whatever that is. And a whole lot of things to remember. I remember when I was growing up, I used to give all my three sisters Jackie ride. Jackie back, we call it, Jackie back. So all of them used to ride on my back, and I would walk with them and they're riding on my back like I'm a donkey. And I would also tell them stories. I used to make a lot of stories and tell them, but sometimes I want to frighten them. So I waited until the time is dark, and then I started to make some ghost stories. And then they got really scared. And then there was a time my sister, she knew, one of my sisters just tush. So she had long fingernail. And one day, both of us fight. And I said, okay. So I waited till in the night. A matter of fact, when we finished fighting, two of us looked like tar baby, because we used tar and black up each other. So I said, okay. So in the night when she was sleeping, I got the scissors and I gently cut off all her fingernails. So when she woke up, she said, who cut off my nail? Want to nail them? And I never told her. It's long after I told her that it was me. You know, childhood is sweet. And then I remember we used to eat rose apple. There was a river. We used to go to the river, especially in the holidays. There was a rose apple. We used to eat rose apple. We used to eat mommy apples. We used to eat a thing named Jimbilin. And we used to eat when we go to Portland, where my grandmother comes from. I was born there. So when we went to Portland, we used to eat panganut. I remember the good old days when I used to travel on the train. I remember the diesels. I used to ask my parents, what's the difference between a diesel and a train? And they said, the diesel moves faster than the train. But when we were in the train, people used to wave their hands to us, and we used to wave our hands to people. Right? And then another thing I can't leave out. When people were going abroad, as a matter of fact, when I used to hear about England, I used to think that England was heaven. Because they used to say so much nice things about England. And know Kingston pretty. Kingston pretty but far. And a blar say me come from far. And talk about how the beautiful place of so when people were going to foreign country, they used to the women used to put on white dresses, and some of them put on their lovely white hats, and they put on their stockings, and they were dressed so modestly, so sophisticatedly, and the men had on their suits. And then when we go to the airport, there was the beauty of the waving gallery, which I miss so much. Because when we climbed the stairs, we used to go up on the waving gallery and wave. And sometimes we said, that person look like so-and-so. And before we know it, you see somebody else that look like that person again for us. And and we used to wave. There used to be a joy just to wave and see people waving back and the waving gallery. Now it's like the Berlin Wall for whatever reason. So, childhood. So much things in childhood. I also remember a guy. That was the most cruel thing I saw. A pig named Janie. And the guy, the owner of the pig, was feeding the pig. And then the owner started to beat the pig and said, eat up Jenny, eat up Jenny. And next thing he did, he chopped the pig with a cutlass. And I said, wow, that is cruel. I said, that is cruel. Back to memory lane. I've been going fast, right? So, yes, people were more friendly with their neighbors. It was a village that raised a child. Then, people cared for each other. When we went to church, There in Portland, there was a long white table or two spread with white tablecloth, and that is where all the members of the church put our lunches together and we ate. And even if we didn't bring any lunches, we got lunches and we felt at home. It's still happening in these churches, but not with that long white table. I can't forget those long white tables spread. Remind me of heaven. Though I've not been there, only in my dream. So, what I was saying again, yeah. So it was a community that raised children. Yes, those days, when you heard about a thief, thieves used to be afraid of people. Thieves used to run from people. Now it's the other way around. Oh Lord. And as to Mr. Det or Miss Det, whatever her name is, that was rare where I used to live. Once in a blue moon, like a couple years or 1 year or a couple years way down the line, you hear say somebody died. And the first person that I heard died was in Kissentown, a lady named Miss Clarice. And she happened to live in the very yard that we live, and that was a little above this property before my mother started working on this property. And when we looked, we heard that Miss Clarice died. And I tell you, a piece of ego took me. I was so afraid. And they said that a lot of rats was in there. Is the rats and whatever what people discover. And I got so afraid, I was so afraid that I paid my brother money not to fall asleep. I said, please, Curtis, don't fall asleep and leave me. And when I realized, oh, Master falls asleep, Mr. Curtis, not a sound. Curtis. That is the only time I remember I ever feel afraid. But growing up, I get to realize that this world is not controlled by us, it is controlled by God. Right? And even though there are evil forces or Satan, God is still in control. So we really don't need to worry. Sometimes we worry, but we don't really need to worry because God already have a plan set out already for us already. Is there any? Yes, there's another thing I remember about my childhood days. When I was living in Cudgels Hill. That's where they say Cudgel the Maroon came from. Or resided, I'm not sure. But we used to live in Cudgels Hill. And my brother is very shy. So were we. However, sometimes you follow people. So there were some guys on the road. There was a man, a dumb man. And we realized after that he was a no-nonsense dumb man. When I said dumb, I don't mean that he don't have sense, He couldn't talk. That's what they used to call him once, dumb. So the children used to tease him, especially boys, of course, used to tease him and call him Dummy George. So my brother, who never grew up as that type of person, with him shy self go follow. One day saw the man and go follow the boy them and go say, Dummy George. Go try out that thing. Dummy George. And about 2 days later we were in our home. And we were there. Make some funny sound. When we look, Dummy George with a sharp cutlass coming to the yard. And one of us, no parents was there, just we children. And all of us scatter. So I went, there was a truck. It was kind of rocky. That was leaning from our home up to another lady's home named Sister Sil, she was our good neighbor as well. So we ran, I me, Peggy, run along that track, because remember I said everybody scatters, so everybody have to work out their salvation with fear and trembling. So I ran in the track and I saw a little hole in the track. So you're gonna walk up the track, there's a little hole, and you're gonna walk and go down until you reach Sister Still house. So I did so. I went into the hole and I did so. And when I realized, I saw 2 long footsteps over my head. Dummy judge step right over my head. Step right over my head with a cutlass, and he did not see me. And then I'm saying to myself, looking, the 2 long footsteps over me. Look how easily, if it wasn't for God's grace, he could have chopped me up into that little hole there, into the track. Just like that. But praise the Lord, I'm here. I'm still here. And memories are good. It's good to have memories. So, yes, as I backtrack to the food, my father was a farmer. So we did not eat lots of meat. The only time, whoever said, either the only time or near to the only time that we ate meat was on Sabbaths. So we used to eat cassava and potato and lots of vegetables. As much vegetables as ever, because my dad used to plant that at the time that we were in Kissington here, before we finally settled here. So we used to eat cassava and potato for you Stush people out there. Anyway, we made a song. On Sunday, we eat cassava and potato. On Monday, we eat cassava and potato. On Tuesday, we eat cassava and potato. On Wednesday, we eat cassava and potato. On Thursday, we eat cassava and potato. On Friday, we eat cassava and potato. But on Sabbath morning, the heavenly morning, we eat rice and peas and chicken all day. No reason to cry anymore. No reason to sigh anymore. No reason to cry anymore. We eat rice and peas and chicken all day. And we used to get our puddings and so. So that was good for us. It's just since I become an adult now that I find myself eating up all the things I didn't get. All the fish, all the meat, all the this, all the that. My childhood experience impacted me positively. It made me know to who I am, to whom I belong. It makes me know what I stand for. It makes me know that no matter what people is going to tell me, principle is principle, right is right and wrong is wrong. Right? But one thing I've also learned is gentle love. I have learned not to just talk anything and don't care what anybody feel. Because that's what I used to do. I didn't care if you want to malice me for 20 years. I was good at that. But since becoming a child of God, a Christian, though I grew up in the church, I think I was not a Christian. I just grew up in the church following my parents, but over the years I became a Christian. And so I've learned that each man is my brother, and each woman or girl or boy or whatever, my sisters, and we are all God's children. And I will call a spade, but in a more, not as rough as I used to be, right? Because malice is not a thing that easy to patch up, Of course, people's gonna be upset with you and even malice you for the truth. But once you know that it's the truth, they will hopefully simmer out in time. But nothing like a clear conscience. So I've learned that a clear conscience is very important. I've learned that material wealth is not all the wealth there is. That there's a broader scope. Health is also wealth. and having a fair conscience is wealth. I have also learned over the years that you don't have to go somewhere to know somewhere. You can also dream. I'm a dreamer. I dream, dream, dream. When I dream, I can see the sky, I can see the trees. I have been all over the place, all over, all over. When I say all over, I mean all over, up, all over in my dreams. So I have learned to take one day at a time and to depend on the Lord and not to be greedy. Because greed is what causes a lot of crimes nowadays and lawlessness. But when we know that we have someone that we are accountable to, a higher power that we are accountable to, it is good for us to humble ourselves before that higher power. My higher power is God, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea and the fountains of water. My advice to the children are to listen to your parents' good advice. My advice to the parents is that you are to nurture your child in the correct way. Be the example that you want to see for your child. And let your child be able to have good memories of you. Listen to your child. Spend quality time with your child. In spite of all the atrocities that are happening in Jamaica, there are still good. There are still beauty. There are still good people. There are still people who respect people and love people. It's not everyone not everyone in Jamaica are cruel people. There are loving, caring people in Jamaica. And in order to get a beautiful rose, there are thorns around it. But you do not focus on the thorns, you focus on the rose. So it is with life. You know, when you go to any other country, like Jamaica, when you come to Jamaica, let me say Jamaica because I've never been anywhere like those other countries that I'm saying. But when you come here, know that even though there are thorns, there are also roses. So look at the beauty, try and find it, listen to the news. I'm not going to tell you not to listen to the news. Listen to the news before you come here. Keep updated with what is happening. Pray to God for protection and come by faith.
Alright, so thank you for having me here today. Thanks for doing the interview.
My
with
pleasure
me.
having you. And I hope that I wish you all the best in your endeavors. God bless you.
Alright, and thank you guys for watching this week's episode. And stay tuned next week, Thursday, for another episode of Growing Up in Jamaica. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone, subscribe so that you will be notified when the next episode comes out. And see you guys next week.
Bye. This is the Poinciana tree. Its roots can stretch very, very far. It is a very strong tree and it bears beautiful pink and purple and white flowers. It's very picturesque. This happens to be the thatch. This is what people used to make yard broom. And then, going out a little further, this is a type of cold bush. It's named Kankute. Very good to get rid of excessive mucus. And this as well, though it's small, is the jack in the bush. It's also good for sinusitis and any form of chest cold or congestion. And if you come up here, I picked off some of the blossoms this morning because they were so pretty. So these are leaf of life. They they are good to get to help people get rid of their extra mucus out of their system. It have a tangy taste, more like pectin. It's slightly sourish, and people normally beat it up, crush it, and squeeze out the juice and mix it with a little salt and drink it, and that gets rid of like an ounce or two, and that gets rid of their cold. So they drink it from time to time until the cold goes away. And up to the extreme top here, so these are some more leaf of life. It's something that it flourishes quite well. It flourishes quite well. And in it, if you look, I'll just pick a little piece of it. Oops. The old root came out. This is the nervine or vervine plant. It is good for nerves, and it's also good to expel, to get rid of parasites and worms out of the system, worms and other parasites out of the system. It's good for the nerves. And of course, look like everything good for cold. This is also good for congestion on the stomach. Okay, that plant the other day, it was blooming beautiful flowers. I don't know if you want to have a closer view. But when you come in this place, you have to know how to watch that maca. Thorns are here. That's what's visited today. Anyway, it's not a lot. Yes, so when this blooms, it's very pretty. When the flowers come on it, I mean, they call it blossom. Looks like flowers. It's very pretty when it's fresh. This is the tuna plant. And this plant is good to detoxify the body. You know, like people that have ulcer, it's good to help to get rid of ulcer, acid reflux.